Just obvious stuff. Can we get updates on Phil and David? Anybody else and their status for Virginia?
No, I mean, I saw him after the game last night. After I talked to you guys, I went down to the training room. I know Phil had an x-ray and it looked good. I'll go down and see what they say later on the day, but I've got no more updates on Phil. David, same thing. David, I texted this morning. He said he was feeling well, but I got nothing else for you. I'll meet with them later today and hope we have some more update on Tuesday, but I'm pretty optimistic at this point, so we'll see what happens.
We'll go next to Kevin.
Hey, Coach, how you doing?
Good, Kevin. How are you?
Good, thanks. I feel like we've asked you about penalties pretty much every week this year. You only had 2 yesterday. No personal fouls, none of that. Is it nice to finally have, a completely clean game?
Yeah. The one penalty in the red zone cost us, and I was upset with myself because I saw it and I should have called the timeout and I didn't. So, but we got to clean that up. We've been a lot cleaner, I think, in the last 3 or 4 weeks. You can see with all our shifts and motions, the guys are doing a good job of getting set. The personal fouls have went away. I want to play on the edge. I want to continue to play on the edge. So sometimes you hit a guy a little bit late, but we've done a much better job with that, and I'm proud of the guys for that. So, yeah, thanks for asking that question. Finally, in a positive way, Kevin.
We'll go next to David Teal.
Jeff, you and Virginia Tech are the only 2 teams in the country this season that played 9 consecutive weeks. As you came off your open date the week previous to Louisville, did it dawn on you just what a grind that was, especially during this season?
Yeah, and we've talked about that a little bit, David. Not only did we play 9 straight weeks, we played 9 straight weeks since being here since June 28th with the staff and with the players, which is usually a month longer. And you can feel the wear and tear from the coaches as well as the players. So I'd said to these guys a couple of times, I pushed everything back, told the coaches to sleep in and take care of themselves as well as the players. And then you tackle that on 2, David, with the fact that we played the number 1, the number 2 team in the country within 3 weeks of that 9-game stretch, played Notre Dame in our 9th game. And you could see we were tired, but no excuse. We won't make one. Fortunate to be able to play the 9, now 10 games. I have some really close friends who have only played 3 or 4 games. And for us to be able to play 10 games and just get better in our first year, win or lose, you got to play football to get better. So we're very fortunate. But yeah, that 9 weeks was a grind. It kind of felt like a 16-week NFL season to me, just the mental grind of it all being here for so long.
We'll go next to Andy.
Hey, Jeff. We've talked a lot about, Phil coming in and what you thought of him, your first impressions of him. I was wondering about Dennis when you first came into the program, what you saw from Dennis, not only as a leader, but as a player too.
Well, when I came here, Dennis was the starter, right? If you remember back in December when I came and watched the bowl game and I watched the film, the first thing about him was his leadership jumped off the tape. And then just the way he played, he took command. You could see the confidence that he had when I met him, when he was under center, watching him practice. You could see the guys around him, how much respect and confidence they had for him. Just great ability to process. He can run the whole offense really without practicing very much, which is a testament to him. Smart kid, great leader, command in the huddle, can make the throws, read through his progressions. And you saw last night he had the run when he pulled it. He's a good player, and he's a great leader, and he's a phenomenal person.
We'll go next to Julian.
Jeff, what's going on?
What's up, Julian?
Alive and kicking. 2 quick ones. One, the x-ray for Phil, did that come back clear, or did you just not know that one yet either?
Yeah, the x-ray came back clear. So the first part, the x-ray they did yesterday came back clear. So I'll go down and find out anything else that they need to do and look at. But that's all I really know right now. I texted Phil this morning. He said it was a little bit sore, but nothing too bad.
Cool. And then secondly, not to jinx it, but this is the last week of COVID testing as far as I know for you guys, unless you guys know something different. How ridiculous is it? Not ridiculous, but it's almost to the point that you guys don't want to jinx it. And it's almost at the finish line, man. Like not cross your fingers, hope whatever, but you know.
Rich, he's jinxing us, man. Rich, you can write the article for him. If we get COVID now, we all know who to blame.
I gotta ask now before it's part of the gig, man.
You know, I said to the team this morning when I went over the game and just kind of my thoughts, and I thank them every time for their effort and their sacrifice and being one of the only teams to be able to do that without a guy testing positive. And I just talked to them about finishing. You know, everything they do and have done, just continue to do it the best that they can, and let's go play one more football game. And like I mentioned to you, I'm kind of don't even know what to say anymore when people ask me how we've done it, because it is truly amazing, and the players need to get a ton of credit, and they need to be rewarded. And I told them today that I would make sure they were rewarded at the end of the year if they continue to push through, because they deserve it. And probably greater than any victory we could have this year is the fact that these kids have done what they've done.
And one, what would the reward be? And then two, I forgot the two already because I was curious. You said the reward.
That's 4 questions he's asked in one. He's always good with doubling up. Now he just doubled up twice. I don't know what the reward will be. I'll have to figure that out. But I thought about that this morning. They certainly need to be rewarded, and they will be. You know, regardless if you jinxed us or not, what they've done so far, I mean, they need to be rewarded for their sacrifice. They deserve it.
We'll go next to Dan.
Coach, I know you talked yesterday about Malik Cunningham and mobile quarterbacks, and we asked you all through the week just about defending him, but it wasn't necessarily, I mean, he got his yards, but it wasn't necessarily because the defense wasn't doing its job. I saw like you're able to get into the backfield, he takes off and runs, you fade back, and he's able to pass. I mean, how do you scheme for a guy when you know that might happen, where if you play the pass, he might run it, and if you try to blitz him, he might take off? I mean, that's just a unique athlete. I know you mentioned that.
Yeah, you got to keep mixing it up. I thought at halftime, or even before halftime, we put in a few adjustments to get an extra hat to the ball with what they were doing. There's certain players we could cheat down, cheat out. But ultimately, you know, we had a guy at the point of attack for the most part. And with a guy like that, you got to try to figure out a way to get multiple people to the point of attack, especially when they were just being so one-sided. So I thought we could have done a little bit more. I could have done a little bit more. But I felt we were in control of the game, other than until that last screen that they took for what felt like 500 yards. But I didn't want to be over aggressive, Dan, because I felt like we were in control of the game, and I wanted to make them drive the length of the field, if that makes sense, because we went up 14. But there was definitely discussions about getting people down and being more aggressive. But you'll see, if you watch the tape closely, he made a bunch of our guys miss. And then I'll tell you, our D-line, though, they did a nice job of caging them on the pass rush. Probably the best our D-line played all year. And you could see it when we tipped the pass at the end of the game. You could see it on a couple of the sacks, on the fumble, and when Muse forced them to fumble, or they handed the ball off on that one. But, it's hard to defend. He's a good player.
We're going to take 3 more, first with Rich.
Back when Phil was dealing with his shoulder issues, was Dennis doing some reps with first unit and during that time, and did that kind of come into play?
Yeah, Rich. Remember I told you Phil didn't really even practice the Syracuse week, so Dennis took all those reps. So that definitely helped. There's no doubt about it.
We'll go back to David.
Jeff, you were talking earlier about Malik Cunningham. Speaking of opposing quarterbacks, have you had much chance to look at Brennan Armstrong?
I'm not. I will, but I literally just I just stopped watching the Louisville game versus us, and I'll go out to practice, and then we'll get rolling.
Then we'll wrap things up with Julian.
Julian's going to get 2 questions here, so everybody knows. Ready? Go.
Hey. I remembered the one from the beginning. At what point did you start to realize that, even first year coach, 6 wins, taking a team that was picked to finish 14th and putting them where they are, that the what you guys were doing with no positive tests was bigger than what you guys were doing a little bit on the field in some ways?
We knew the importance of it, Julian. I think as of late, with all the cancellations, both in the National Football League and in college football, I think it's really started to dawn on us. When I show the players that we were in our 10th game, and you kind of look at some other conferences and some other teams, even within our conference, and they're not even close to 10 games. You really start to notice what these guys have sacrificed to get to the point to even line up and play a 10th game and now an 11th game. And when you look at really how hard it is in our country right now with how much it's spreading again and how it's all over, and you take a group of over 100 kids and put them on a college campus where they're actually going to class and being with other students and living in dorms with other students and hanging out with other students. And I'm sure there's parties that they could be tempted to go to. And I'm sure there's places off campus they're tempted to go to. The self-discipline and the sacrifice is, I don't even have a word for it. Think about if you were in college right now and I asked you to do all those things and the temptations that are out there, all you guys, could you do it? I ask myself that question all the time. And these guys have chosen to do it for each other. And that needs to be made public, because it's not me. I have nothing to do with it. It's this team doing it for each other. And yeah, if we can get through this 10th game, other than your jinx, this 11th game, then it should be something that, that everybody talks about. And Father Leahy, him giving us everything we need to do this, and all our medical team and trainers. And I mean, it's incredible. And I'm grateful to everybody who's been supportive.
Jeff, thank you very much for your time today. Thanks everybody for joining us.
All right, guys.
You ever been to Virginia before? That campus?
Yeah.
Beautiful, isn't it?
Rich, on Tuesday, I got a really funny story for you about when I was at Pitt and we were opening up with Virginia. It's one of my first memories of being a Division I coach, but I'm going to make you ask that question on Tuesday. Don't forget, Rich. It would be a good story.
Okay. Gotcha.
Guys, enjoy the Sunday NFL games and enjoy your families, and I'll see you soon.